Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be designing a horizontal layout in my catch-all planner for the next week in August. So come plan with me. And I've got these Sharpies here all ready to go, as well as some alcohol and a brush so we can do some mixed media techniques. Got these vinyl sticker sheets, which actually ended up not working out. We'll talk about that. And these Happy Planner sticker books, which I'll pull from. Okay, so I'm just going to lay down some wax paper for planning out the stickers on this spread. And we're going to get started with this vinyl sticker sheet. I got these clear labels off of Amazon, and they work great in my laser printer. And since I tried this with a self-laminating sheet in the past and it worked out perfectly, I was going in super confident that this was going to work just as well on these sheets of vinyl sticker paper. And lo and behold, that was not the case. I'm pretty sure the reason why is because this type of plastic is made for laser printers and it has an instant dry kind of property to it. And I think that just did not react the same to the alcohol and the ink as acetate style plastic would. So I tried it out. I pretty much wasted the whole sheet. I should have did a little sample, but whatever. That's the way it works. And went back to the one I had already tried in a previous video, which is using a self-laminating sheet that I got at Dollar Tree. And I think, again, it's mainly because of the type of plastic it is and how it holds the ink and alcohol. I wanted to use the big one because I have a plan to do a pool-like theme here in the center. This is a little bit smaller than I want it to be as far as the, size of the pool, and it's also very square. So I'm going to get a little creative with how I'm going to cut it in order to maximize the space and still get the look I'm looking for. And all that you need to do for this to work is to put down a bit of Sharpie. You can use any color, variety. I mix those two blue and green tones to kind of create the color I was looking for. And then you want to add some pretty high concentration alcohol. I'm using 91%, which I got at Target, so it's, something you can easily find at most retail stores like Walmart, Target in the United States, or maybe in, your drugstore if you're international. And then I use that to soften the ink from the Sharpie and move it around and kind of create more of a liquid style fluidity similar to alcohol inks, or really that's what it is. It's alcohol inks. Just the basics of that. So I did that. One thing I think I've learned in this process is that if you work it too much with too much alcohol, the ink has trouble sticking to the plastic. So I did do this technique previously, like I mentioned, and for the ones where I just put a little bit of alcohol, rubbed it around, didn't go crazy, those ones tended to really set well on the plastic and not be transferable, which you're going to see when I start to lay this out. It's also important to let it dry completely, although it does dry pretty fast because the alcohol evaporates quickly. But again, I think I worked this a little bit too much and stuff started to kind of come up onto my fingers. It really wasn't settling into the plastic like I was able to see on some of the other ones that I did in the past. And again, I think it's just because I put too much alcohol here on the sheet and worked it a little bit too much. So I'm going back in here with the brush and the alcohol and just trying to kind of clean up those areas where I could see the fingerprints already picked up and a little bit of looseness from the, settling of the ink. And I'm just trying to reset it again with the alcohol. This did not help. I think it just made things worse. So just an FYI on that. If you are going to try this, that is my tip for the technique, to really try to do minimal touching and rubbing of the alcohol into the ink as possible. on the plastic to give it time to set and really, adhere to it. Also, maybe a light touch too would be good. So I've already laid in the girls that I'm planning on using here in and around the pool. I had these Squaird girls from way back when, and these are the last of them. So I thought it'd be fun to just kind of use them up before the end of summer and pair them with this alcohol ink technique. I also grabbed a quote out of the Floral Memories Happy Planner sticker book. That's an old school sticker book from way back when. Those are really just my favorites from the Happy Planner. I just have not really been driving with a lot of the newer sticker books. I'd be interested to know how you guys are feeling about just the recent, last couple of years of Happy Planner books. Are you guys still loving them? Are you a little less enamored? I kind of feel like there was an obsession there for a while, at least with me, with the Happy Planner books. I had just, the decor and the color, but now, I don't know, they're just not speaking to me like they used to. So I'm just curious to see how you guys are feeling about the Happy Planner sticker books these days. Anyway, I'm pulling out some of the old school ones. I also found these palm trees in the Happy Year sticker book, which was a back to school teacher release, and am using those here in and around the pool just to add a little bit more of a tropical vibe. I thought that the styling of those palm trees were a good mix, and I just had them laying around, so I thought that would be a good combination with these pool vibes. I also pulled in a colorful box, as you can see there, from the OG original Happy Planner colorful boxes. And I'm going to use that because I'm taking up so much space there in the bottom with the quote on my this week area. So I figured I better add an extra box there just to track those weekly tasks that may come up. So that's what I'll use the long box for. And maybe anything else that's like a focus on Monday and Tuesday, since I'm kind of cutting into that space as well. And then bringing in a few more colorful boxes in and around the pool area. This time focusing in more on that aqua teal green and bringing that in for a nice contrast color. And just spreading those around where I think I might need a focus area. That's pretty much it, I think, for the spread. I'm going to find some highlighters to use for my checklist that kind of match up with the colors, and then get started with actually putting this down on the page. I did have some really good ideas for adding some splatter and stuff with the alcohol ink, but because I ended up not using that full sheet like I'd planned, I had to forego that. But it would have been kind of nice to add some texture stickers to go along with this pool, adding in some ink splatters with the alcohol on the edges. So if I get a larger sheet of plastic sticker paper that works, maybe like the inkjet style of that same type of sticker paper that doesn't quite have as much issues with adhering the ink, we'll try that maybe in the future and see if I can really get some cool techniques out of that. So I'm just going to try to lay this down. I've whited out all of the black lines that are behind the pool just so that it's not quite so stark a contrast there. But I'm going to leave the rest of the gray lines. Just let them be. That way I can still see the days behind the pool. I did try to use this new sticker spatula I got from Grabby when I got that Grabby box, and it worked okay, but because, again, that ink wasn't adhering perfectly to the plastic, it's easily transferring off, the spatula was actually kind of scraping it a little bit. So decided not to use that anymore, at least on the alcohol ink areas. Laid those in. I think that went fairly smooth aside from the transfer situation. And now we're just going to move over the rest of these girls and try to place the items in and around the pool area. I didn't want the trees to actually go behind the clear sticker, so I was finding the place to trim them so that they looked somewhat natural, but wouldn't contrast with the pool floaty girl sticker and, like go behind them and distract from her leisurely pool lounging space. I also decided to try to white out just right on top of the alcohol ink pool the word "this week" so it wouldn't show up behind this pool floaty girl. And that worked out actually okay. It wasn't perfect. I think I should have let it dry a little bit more, but it did help camouflage that a bit. And now moving over the quote, which I'm going to, again, white out a little bit there on the edge just so it doesn't run into the black line and cause a distraction. I don't know if you guys can see, but my fingers are pretty blue. So I was also transferring a little bit of that alcohol ink in and around the page. I tried to clean my hands numerous times, and I'm recording this the same day, the voiceover, and my hands are still blue. I tried soap and water. I tried the alcohol, and they're stained for a bit. So, yeah, live and learn on the next one as far as how much alcohol and working of that sticker I'm going to do. And because of that, I try a little technique at the very end where I happen to have some clear coat spray paint on hand, and I thought that maybe I'd mix that in, which you'll see at the very end of the video. It actually did help set the sticker a bit, but the effect wasn't quite as good as I had wanted it to be because I applied it with a brush. I think that's really at the very end, so I probably won't get to talk you through it, but that did help. I also thought about maybe adding a little bit of glue or something, or even resetting it with tape to kind of solidify the blue. Just some ideas that maybe if you have the same experience might work out for you. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off some of the excess sticker and then try to clean up again more fingerprints that I recently retransferred over onto the pool when I was setting this up. So we'll go ahead and trim off the excess of the quote stickers so that everything looks pretty good. And start laying in the checklist using these friction highlighters. I basically pulled these because I thought that the pink was the closest bright pink that I had in my stash. Most of my other highlighters aren't quite as vibrant of a pink. They're more of either a red or a soft pink. So I pulled that one and then just found a matching teal toned highlighter to work with that. And that worked out pretty good, although the teal is pretty light there on the sheet as opposed to the vibrancy of the pink. Also did a little bit of cleanup there with my white opaque pen, same one I used to white out those black lines, and thought I was close to done, but then remembered, oh yeah, I got to punch those holes since you can hardly even see. And I did the first one actually with my Happy Planner punch, surprise, surprise. And that worked out fine actually with the doubled up page because it's a very thin sheet that makes the backing of the pool. But unfortunately, I had some cardstock on the other side of the left-handed page from the previous week. And so I couldn't really get it comfortably in and out of my Happy Planner. So I tried it, as you could see, and I was just not comfortable trying to punch it because I just knew it was going to stick and then that was going to be a whole nother headache. So I pulled in my power punch here to try to get those holes cleaned out. It didn't do very well with this because it's such a thin sheet of plastic, and even when I doubled it up with the page, it just didn't cut it very cleanly. So I had to go back anyway and go through with my precision cutter and try to clean up the uncut plastic areas that kind of got bunched up there in the punch. Ideally, it would have punched through cleanly, but because it was such a thin sheet, it just didn't work as well. But I went ahead and did that, and now I'm just going to go ahead with my scissors and clean out the holes, which took way more time than I really wanted it to, but we got it done. And last but not least, I try to, like I said, kind of clean it up with the clear coat spray paint that I have. I pulled that out and just sprayed a little bit into the same glass container that I used before and rubbed it on, which again, it did work, but just kind of smears the ink. Maybe if I was able to actually spray it right on the sheet before I laid it down, that might have worked. Just an FYI, but you can kind of see the results. I did the one side, I let it go, and called it a day. We were done. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, got some insight on how not to do things. And so if you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Bye.